Excited to share some updates about the channel. It's been a long time since I've done a live stream. I used to do the game pitch live streams on a more frequent basis, so my technology skills have apparently gotten a little bit rusty over the last little bit. And anyways, back in the saddle, here we go. I'm going to be doing a ton of kind of updates. It's going to be a bit of a long one. I'm going to bring some heat to myself as far as I got some strong opinions on a few things. Normally, I'm pretty milk toast about what I think about what's going on in the industry. And even then, like, hey, I'm not going to be too mean or anything like that, but there's some just stuff that I kind of see happening within the TTRPG industry and OSR in particular. And just thought I'd kind of throw it out there and see what people think. I could be way off on things. I often am wrong on things, so would surprise me if that could happen. But anyways, I digress. I'm going to be talking about an upcoming Kickstarter. You can see on the screen, Bug Busters. So that is going to be launching next week. I'm excited. I'm going to go through it a little bit on the screen, and you can kind of see a sneak peek, so to speak, of what you're going to get as part of the Kickstarter. And then I'm also going to talk about, we have the Fun with Fang Adventure Jam going on. Just that we've got some entries. There's still time to complete an adventure and enter it into the jam. So I'm hoping to encourage those people that have maybe fallen off the wagon a little bit and just need a little bit of motivation to keep going on it. Or if they have questions, to pop in the chat and ask questions. I'm also going to be talking about the Ennies. That might be one of the areas that I get a little bit of heat on, as far as like I have some opinions on the Ennies. I've had it for a number of years now about the Ennies, and I finally feel like I should say something just for the benefit of the TTRPG space. And I should note, like, when I say that kind of stuff, my North Star is indie game design and indie game designers. So everything I do, that's my North Star, as far as like, I really want to support indie game designers and make sure that people are creating what I think is art. So buckle up for some thoughts on the Ennies. And then also on that thought, I do want to talk about some changes to the channel that are upcoming. So some might have pieced together based upon my Ennie conversation or thoughts, how that might play into also the future of the channel. So sit back, relax, grab a drink if you have one. We're gonna first of all start off with Bug Busters. So this is a game that I've been kicking around this game for like a long time. Originally it was going to be like a micro game, and then I kind of saw that it had like legs, for me at least, so to speak, and I started to develop it further and further. I got some awesome artists on board that it really helped me like hone in on the vision that I had in my mind for Bug Busters. And I had thought about launching it earlier, and I thought, no, I need to put more time into the development of this. So we are very, very close to launching next week. I'm going to have the links are in the show notes, and I'll put them in after. I'll put them in above after the live stream ends. And so if you're watching this not live, hopefully they're up there by then. But you can follow us on Kickstarter. The links are in the description. And without further ado, I am going to launch the video. And so this might be repurposed later on for audio. So if you're watching or listening, I should say, on a podcast, you might not see the video. I'll keep the music in because I think it's pretty good music. And so here we go. The world somewhat premiere of the Bug Buster video. It's like 1 minute, so bear with me. If you're watching, just check it out. This is the YouTube /premiere of the 1 minute trailer for the Kickstarter. And we're back. So I hope you enjoy that. I had fun making it. I love the music. I hope it captures the vibe of the game and all the play testing we've done. That is kind of the vibe of the game. It's comical. However, it's not designed to be comical because I really dislike it when a game is like too comical. Like I hope the players bring comedy to the game. That's so this is like the stage for people to have fun, but it's not meant to be kind of funny, if you know what I mean. I didn't want to have it be like Toon or Paranoia too much. Like I just really wanted it to. Nikita, thank you. Thanks for the kind words. Yeah, the artists have been amazing, and I can be a little bit of a like particular, like when I have a vision. So like they've had to really bear with me, and as far as like crafting it, but they're so good, and I hope to actually have them on a live stream later on as part of the Kickstarter, and they can discuss and commiserate on my pickiness. So anyways, they're awesome people, and happy to have them on board with the Bug Busters campaign. So let me pop up the Kickstarter so you can get the sneak preview here. So if you go there right now, you can sign up to be notified when we launch, which is going to be next week. I'm kind of Tuesday, Wednesday. We'll see which day makes the most sense. Let me just kind of scroll through here so you can see it. So there's lots of story. Everything kind of seemed like relevant, so I thought I'd better add it in. As you probably captured from the teaser video, Doug started Bug Busters in the 80s during the Swarm Wars. Him and his scrappy crew of Bug Busters staved off an alien invasion. So that's the lore of the Bug Busters campaign. And now you are setting up a franchise in your local town, and Doug and his team can send you stuff. Susan, actually, as you saw in the video, that was an homage to, I don't know if you remember those old comic books that it would always be like, call Peggy to order your event or your toys from the back of the comics. Anyways, that was kind of the goal of it. So you can see we've got Doug. His moniker is I'm Doug and I bust bugs. And you can see like the Bug Busters campaign or the franchise is in the sketchy part of town. And some inspiration. So obviously Bug Busters, Ghostbusters, that's one of the big ones. Another one is like Tremors. I really love that movie as far as like the just the comedy element and the sci-fi element. That's like really at the heart of a Bug Buster game. Critters, same thing. Repo Man is that kind of punk element, and it's the supernatural element. So it's not just bugs. There's like all kinds of other factions and angles that you can take for busting bugs, because even me can recognize that we needed a bigger world to play in than just like going out and busting bugs, although that's an important part of it. So other things like aliens, obviously, the eggs and the body horror, they live, alien invasion, arachnophobia, taxi, which might be a little bit of an odd one to put on here, but I really like the vibe of like you're working in a grungy garage and that kind of camaraderie, and they're all kind of weirdos. And that's like that old TV show Taxi. If you haven't seen it, go look it on YouTube. It's pretty funny. Jim Ignatowski, which is like Jim. He's like kind of that crazy stoner. I always loved Jim on that. Very funny. And then The Abyss, kind of roughnecks, that you're working class folks, but you're encountering aliens. The Thing, obviously, same thing, kind of roughnecks. You're in the Antarctic, you're alone, aliens. Nope, same thing, kind of that. Conspiracy of, are there aliens? Men in Black. It's not kind of got that. It's got a little bit of that CIA kind of like secret agency stuff, but that's more of a faction. Eight-Legged Freaks, Starship Troopers. Anyways, if you like those movies, you're probably going to like playing Bug Busters. The tiers that we have for the game, there's going to be a hardcover book, so you can see it there. That's the about 200 pages of busting bugs, and we've broken that into 4 sections, which I'll talk about later. The starter adventure, Connor's Corn Maze. You can see behind me here, there's a map that I always just roll this map out on the table when I do play testing. of Bug Busters, and people love to kind of like point at the map and go, okay, I want to go here, I want to go there. And there's like, it's not a railroady thing at all. It's like a little mini sandbox. So you basically can go wherever you want on that map, and there's going to be things to poke and prod and have fun with. So Connor's Corn Maze is that it's a zine and a foldable map that is going to be similar to that, still a work in progress. Then there's also, if you are like me and you like want to bring it to the table, it's tough when you're like kind of sharing books at the table. So we have the 2 player zines that you can get as part of the all-in package, and the 2 player zines are going to be the two of the sections out of the books. There's 4 sections, and these are the 2 kind of player focused ones: the creating a bug buster, and then the equipment. And we got lots of equipment, so it actually needs its own book. So you can do one of those 3 adventures, or 3 tiers, I should say. The core book, you can see the specs here. I'm in Canada, so that's where it's all going to be shipping from. So I put the Canadian price first, but you can see the US dollars and the euro on there. And I should note, because Canada is part of the North American CUSMA agreement for free trade, this is tariff-free, so not to worry. It's going to be printed in Canada, sent to the US, no issues whatsoever. And so we've got the hardcover book. We've got the starting adventure, Connor's Corn Maze. You can see the map there. That's going to be for me, like this is kind of a rough end version of it. You're going to see like way more kind of detail, way more like kind of hand drawnness to it. I just kind of roughed it in. At this point, I'm still kind of working on that. And you can also upgrade to the player zines at the table. Like I said, there's the employee manual and the equipment manual, which are the 2 sections out of the book. So let's look at the sections. There's the orange section here. You got the employee. When you're creating a bug buster, you've got the rules of the game, everything from saving throws to like the doom stack, all the details that you can just look at very quickly and get an idea of like how the game plays, and also make a character. So we actually have on the character sheet a mixtape, and on the mixtape you have a fight song and a chill song, and that plays into mechanics in the game. So, and it also gives your character a little bit of personality. So when you're actually making the game, it's fun to go around and say, okay, I like, pina coladas in the rain or whatever. And it kind of like paints a picture of like the type of character that you have, because you're doing like that style of music. And anything before the year 2000 is fair game, because Bug Busters is set in the 90s. And as well as a mixtape, you also get merit badges. And that's the way you upgrade your character, is you get merit badges for doing different things in the game. So it's like milestones. There's the hive dive, where you go into a hive. There's the queen kill for your first queen kill. There's the web head. So the first time that you get out of like a webby situation, like if the critical attack of the bug puts you in a web and you get out, that helps improve your character. So over time, all these things kind of like ratchet up the quality of your game and your player. So, and also you get your name patch or call sign that you put on your name patch. I'd put Pitbull in here. You can choose whatever you want. So merit badges are just kind of a fun way to do things. And the final merit badge is the Order of Doug, which I'm going to talk about in a little bit. But the Order of Doug is the ultimate goal of a bug buster, that as you go through your career, eventually when you kind of retire, you get that Order of Doug. And we'll talk about that later. And if you're like, hey, I don't know music, if you're younger and you don't know music from that era, there's a playlist here. I encourage you to click on it. I personally put that together myself. So that's kind of music that I listen to, and I thought would be fun to just kind of make sure that, like you heard in the video, that's kind of the Bug Buster vibe. And then the second section is the equipment section. And this is the most fun. Mac Tag, who is one of the artists I'll show later on, he has made some awesome gear, just awesome gear. So let's see, I got a comment here. Improving by doing new things sure beats grinding rats and kobolds into XP. I hate math. I hate math, Paul. So for me, I was like, how do we just like level up your characters without actually adding stuff? So for me, it was the obvious choice of a milestone. So I don't want to just like keep collecting XP. It should be a kind of a fun thing. So going back here, MacTag, he did like a ton of like cool equipment art. You can see that Call Susan sign on the cover there. She is at Bug Buster HQ, and she will take your orders. And we've gone like all in on this. There's prosthetics. So as Bug Busters, you face some pretty dangerous situations. You get lopped off hands, you get lopped off legs, missing eyes. There's like lots of prosthetics that you can add in, and all the prosthetics have a little bit of fun to them. You can see there's like a laser mace and a vibro claw. So hopefully that kind of adds flavor to the game, because in like a lot of modern games, the weapons are kind of just like damage. All of these have like kind of special features. I kind of prefer to look at it almost like magic items. Like when you have some of these cool gizmos, like James Bond-ish kind of features on all of them, just kind of adds to what you can do in the game. It just makes things more interesting in a modern setting. And it also kind of fits the vibe of the Bug Busters. So you can see the Insectosonic, that, you know, you can crank up music for the fight song and like all sorts of things you can communicate back. There's a sonic like dampening so that you can sneak a little bit better. And so here another comment. Thank you very much. I hope it's a well-designed game. I hope it's a well-designed Kickstarter page. Couldn't have done it. I've had like lots of support as far as folks I've bounced ideas off of, and they've given me advice and said, oh, what about this? What about that? And I said, sure, like those are all good points. So everybody that's commented and helped build the page, I very much appreciate it. So we've got the equipment section, and you can see some of the gear. And this goes back to that back of the comic book where you would see all the different gear. And this doesn't have the prosthetics on it, but just some of the things. We've got the original Bug Bot in the bottom by Call Susan, and that was the original RC. So there's actually like an RC part of your attributes, like a specialty. And so we've got the Boom Bot, and you can see the Blimp Bot. So all of those have like unique features. So like RC control is actually pretty important in the game. They've got, you know, bug traps. We've got jab dart guns. We've got the Zapmaster 3000, the original OG weapon, which was the Bug Blaster that Doug, you saw holding during the Swarm Wars. So lots of cool things to play with. And then the purple section, this is what we call the dispatcher section, the name for the GM. So this is basically trying to like give you advice on how to run the game. I should note, and we'll talk about it in a little bit later, that this is all player facing roles. So the GM dispatcher can just concentrate on playing and like running the game. Because I hate math. I think I've mentioned that before. B, when you're running the game, like it's very hard to just like manage like lots of different characters and do lots of different things. I wanted to make this cognitive load on the dispatcher, the GM, as low as possible. I want this to be like a fun experience to run, and all the mechanics support that. So you can see I've got my 3 E's of being a good GM, which is evoke, enrich the space, and elicit creativity from your players. And so the dispatcher section, and then finally the green section, which is the bugstiary, a little play on the bestiary, and or bestiary, and and the factions. So you, like I mentioned before, like because this is, I don't want this to be just going out and killing bugs. That's obviously a part of it, but there's like some really unique factions that bring texture to the game. So you can see here the Road Trippers. They're a nihilist skateboard gang that are trying to basically bring about the end of the earth. And so they're like saying like the roach shall inherit the earth. And so they have their own goals, their own motivations, and it lends to that kind of punky vibe, working franchise in the bad part of town. And there's other factions. There's like a space cult, you know, those early day space cults that like basically convinced everybody to like join them in big compounds and stuff like that. So there's like all sorts of kind of fun things. There's like secret agencies, there's rival exterminators, there's like local police enforcement that doesn't actually like what you're doing. So it's not just busting bugs. And I should also say that each franchise also has like a franchise sheet that you have like a dive bar, and we'll talk about that later. And there's like mechanics and admin staff. So there's like lots of NPCs in and around. And so no franchise is going to kind of be the same. It's all going to be pretty fun. Oh, another comment. Hell yeah, skateboarders. I can role play my teen self. Yeah, that's essentially it. Like I'm pulling everything out of my memory from the 90s. And this game just for me is like, I'm trying to relive my youth maybe a little bit. There's probably like some psychologist out there going, this is an obvious cry for you wanting to be young again. And so the world of Bug Busters, like I said, it's not just limited to what you would think of as like, okay, we just go kill bugs. There's actually like some real nuance to it. And you can see, there's like a little cigarette pack from the Hornet's Nest dive bar, the Wild Rose darts. So I kind of was like always thinking, should I make smoking as big a part of the game as I did? Because smoking is bad. Don't do it. However, I just felt Bug Busters are probably all addicted to smoking. And Wild Rose darts, I'm from Alberta, Canada, and we're the Wild Rose province. So I thought I would do a little bit of an homage. And we have the Wild Rose darts. And then that opens up like all sorts of opportunities. Like, guess what? Cypher, the hypnotist, offered to give a free hypnosis to stop smoking to the Bug Busters. And what could go wrong there, right? So that, once again, it's kind of that world of its adventures kind of set up. And you also get like a fast food restaurant that you get takeout from. In this case, like the Lucky Dragon, that's going to be a future adventure. So there's like all sorts of kind of fun things. God Save the Queen, punk attitude. So all that stuff is the world of Bug Busters. And then the question is, how does it play? Now, if you already own one of my previous games, the Fangasahola, which is like a minimal zine, I did it for Zine Quest, and it's got like, you play it at the table. You don't even have to prep. You just roll everything on the table and you can play. It's perfect for conventions. It's like and we'll talk about like the Doom stack and all that kind of stuff. But if you want to try it out, there's a art-free version or limited art version. There's still art in it. It's free. The link is going to be on the Kickstarter. Go download it. Basically, the rules are like a beefed up version of the rules that I made for Fangasahola. So tried, tested, and true. You've got action dice, doom dice, and luck dice. And as mentioned, like this is like a simpler, more efficient version of West End Games D6 that was used in Ghostbusters, which is a great game, Star Wars D6, which is a great game. And I basically wanted to take those rules and kind of make them more streamlined. And that's where I stumbled across the idea of, instead of counting pips, which I hated as a GM and player, that you just look at the top two and it's pretty intuitive. Like you can just like see the big group of dice, and then you can just like pop off the top two. And then you have luck dice if you want to add to it. You can even take on doom dice ahead of it. If you go like, this is like a really important roll, I'll actually take a black doom dice ahead of it and add it into my roll in order to get a higher like chance of rolling. And so maybe when I'm done here, I'll maybe pop into the dice roller. But there is actually an online dice roller that can kind of explain how the system works. So if you can see it, the top two results, and then there's a difficulty on a scale of 12. So for the dispatcher, the GM, all you have to do is go, okay, this is like pretty risky. It's going to be a DF of 10. That's all you have to get. So your top two dice have to be 10 or higher. And then if you tie, that's the jinx. A lot of games have, success with a complication. And that often I see in the mechanics, that's just too much. And then by the end of the adventure, the GM is just like exhausted trying to figure out complications. So by having it just like one number that like on a tie, it's a jinx, it's a success with a complication, that limits how many times those complications have to be coming up with. So anyways, it seems to work. And I mentioned that there's the dice roller, so you can go there and check it out. And the big selling feature of the Fangasahola game was the Doom stack. Some people love it. Some people are like, I just want to track it on paper. Either can happen. But if you want to play at the game, you can track your damage or trauma by putting black dice, doom dice, on a stack. And then when it falls over, that's when something bad happens to your bug buster. And like I said, you can do it on paper. You can do it as a stack. It's good for conventions because people get tense. So you're only playing for like 3 hours. So you want to kind of add like a little bit of spice to the game. And then, because I'm in Canada and because most dice come from China, we're not offering any dice as part of the Kickstarter. However, D6 are super cheap. I have a link in the Kickstarter so you can go buy your own or go to your friendly local game store. And I should note, I keep pitching that it's an OSR playstyle game. And the reason I say that is like there's no attribute for wisdom. There's no attribute for intelligence. I find like as soon as you get rid of those, like it allows the player to just like bring their skill to the game. There's no like perception checks. It's the dispatcher just basically telling them what happens. And if you've seen any of my previous videos on FKR, like the Free Kriegspiel Revolution, like OSR, but FKR, I really like the idea of minimal interaction with the rules. But when you do interact with the rules, they're fun. Like the dice are fun, but you don't have to always interact with the rules. So to me, it's like that. I like this, or else I wouldn't have designed it. I like the balance between those two worlds, and I find this really strikes a good balance for me, at least in the way I play and run games. You can check out. I was on the Weekly Scroll with Ryan and Hunter. If you want to check out, we did like a little play test on there. So just to check out how it might play, we've got some stretch goals. I want the stretch goals to improve the book and improve the quality and improve things that the players are getting. So you can see we've got a few there to start with. I have no idea how this thing's going to do. Honestly, I think whenever people push go on a Kickstarter, they're like terrified that it's going to flop and it's going to bomb. Or like, you hope for the best, but you just never know. So I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. I'm hopeful, you put a lot of effort into these things and the artists put a lot of effort into these things. So, I just hope it does well. Add-ons. We've got the Order of Doug. As I mentioned, that's the highest merit badge you can get. You can actually get your name in the back of the book as part of like a fictitious Order of Doug, like honor sheet. At the back of the book, you can actually get your name and your call sign. So you pick your call sign, and for an extra $30 Canadian, you can be in the book. But there's only 80 spots, so back early to make sure you can get your name in the back of the book. And you can also get Fangasahola add-on. So if you missed the previous Kickstarter, you can get a copy of Fangasahola and the adventures. And if you're wondering where all this came from, my mind, I was a tree planter in Canada in the 90s. There's some like really fun, weird people that I worked with, much like the Taxi TV show. Like they're like pretty, like everything from ravers to like farmers to people from other countries. Like it was like a real mix of people. And they're all characters, and that's kind of what I hope like a Bug Buster is like. There's 60 backgrounds that you can randomly roll, and everything from like Radio Shack salesperson to a retired sensei. So you've all had like these paths that help your attributes grow, and you get specialties and things. So you roll them, and so you can make a character like literally in like a minute. Like seriously, that's how easy it is to make. And you just like, you start playing. So it's very quick, very easy, especially once you know the rules, you can just kind of get going. The artists, as I mentioned, none of this would be possible without the artists. I hope to have them on a stream later on. You've got Kyle Burles, who's also located here in Calgary. Just really dumb luck that Kyle is located in Calgary, where I am. And so Kyle Hazard is his username, his handle on Instagram. Check him out. He's awesome. We got Gareth Little. He's from the UK, Bazoopco, if you check out him on Instagram. And then Mac Tag, he is in the States, and he did all the gear. And Gareth did all the patches, and Kyle has been all over the place. He's done this, the pictures of Doug. He's done some other things, like some bugs. Max done some bugs. So it's truly a team effort. Gareth has been awesome with all the like little like restaurants and all those kinds of things, and just the vibes that I was after. So I will send these from Canada, like I mentioned, tariff free. You can follow on social media, and I will be sending updates. So I feel like I'm like shilling here, but anyways, I'm excited. Bug Busters is going to launch next week, so that's next Tuesday or Wednesday. I'm leaning towards Tuesday, but if you know, things go awry on Wednesday, you know, just as far as like last minute little adjustments and changes, and then I'm really hoping that people enjoy the game more importantly. I just really am excited for folks to get the game and bring Bug Busters into this world. So whew, I'll stop there, because that's just like the first part of this huge update. The next part is the Fun with Fang adventure. So we've got it started off strong. I think a lot of people were excited, and then the jerks over at other jams, like I think they had the Appendix N jam, so I hate you people, probably. And then there's like, I think Lost Bay did like a Earth jam and all these other jams, and I think a lot of people that started really hot for the Fun with Fang adventure jam kind of got sidetracked, but there's still time. The deadline is October the 31st, which is Halloween. So reach out if you need any help, any assistance on this. We already have some entries here. Like we've got the Trouble in the Bee Cavern, Passion for Dummies, The Perfect Meal, Hell's Kitchen. So we've got some entries. I encourage you to check them out. I'll put the links in the show notes. I'm just like, I think everybody's been doing such a great job. I'm very honored that people have seen themselves in playing Fang and Fangasahola. We just call it Fang. So there's like some games already here. Like I said, I think people have really shown their passion and brought the game to advancement. So like I said, those jerks over at the Appendix N jam, I hate you. But anyways, I hope you had a good jam, and there's still time if you want to jump in and play a little bit of Fun with Fang and make a jam. And if you want to join the jam, you get a free copy of Fang, and an entry. You get like all sorts of loot. And to go back to the prizes, in case you're just hearing about this for the first time, there's over $1,000 in prizes in IKEA gift cards. So there's everything from best art, best layout, best map, best NPC, new monster, new magic items, and best use of the Swedish IKEA vibe. So I encourage you to check it out. Links are also going to be in the show notes about that. And so hopefully you have a chance. And there are I made like a ton of resources on how to brainstorm ideas, making monsters, heirlooms, you name it. There's a ton of information here on how to make maps, how to illustrate, and that leads into a future channel update, but I'll leave it there for now. So I really encourage you, if you want to do the Fun with Fang Adventure Jam, there's still time. Let me know how I can assist you. So there's a sign up on my website, diekugames.com. You can like enter here on itch. So just look for the Fun with Fang Adventure Jam. So thank you for all those that have already added your games. Super excited to see them out in the wild myself. And I will be promoting them and have some of the creators on this show as well in the future. So anyways, awesome that people are doing this work. Appreciate every single one of you. The next thing on my list, this is when it's going to get dicey, because I am going to talk about, I better come back on the screen with just myself. I'm going to get serious here for a second about talking about the Ennies, and slightly in tangent to that, the decline of the OSR, or potential decline. My hope is that it doesn't decline, but I guess to unpackage it all, one of the thing I entered, I guess the Ennies, maybe was it 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, for the podcasting. And I thought I had been interviewing a lot of great guests, and so I entered it, and I made a special video to enter, highlight reel essentially, and only two, and I could actually see, because it was like a YouTube video, I could see only 2 judges clicked on it, and I could see the watch time was literally 10 seconds each, and it kind of disappointed me at that time. I was like, you go to the trouble to enter, and they only watch 10 seconds, only 2 of them. And it kind of makes you realize, A, there's probably a ton of people that have entered. And then B, at that time, I was frustrated because it was live streamers that kind of got all the awards, actual plays and stuff like that. So completely different than podcasts. And even I mentioned to Craig Shipman over at Third Floor Wars, which I was a guest on. You'll see the link in the Kickstarter, that he should have won that year, because I saw he was also nominated, and just to me, I was just kind of soured by the Ennies. Despite that, when I did do my little game of Fungus Ahola, I thought, I'm gonna throw it in as an Ennie nomination. So I sent nice packages and everything like that. I never really expected it to win or anything, but I still hold firm that the layout is pretty good. It's got unique features and full wraps, and those tables aren't too exciting, but anyways, there's all sorts of other pages that have better features on it. And then between last year and this year in particular, I was very disappointed in one particular category, which was layout. I have often kind of for me, I'm a graphic designer, and my illustration is up and coming, but I'm a graphic designer. So I love layout. I love it when a book has awesome layout. And I was disappointed in the winners the last couple of years, because it gets mixed in with, there's a popularity contest, and then there's judges that either are overwhelmed. Like I said, for my videos, they only watch 10 seconds and only 2 of them. And then the other thing was there's just so much being thrown at them that I also kind of feel bad for them. So there's no shade on them. It's more of a, I would say, just a problem with the Ennies. Now there's a person who I'm sure lots of you are familiar with. I'll pop it up here. Clayton Notestein. I'll pop him up on the screen. So he was one of the judges this year, and he was also on the Weekly Scroll, and they did a really good job unpacking the Ennies as him as a judge. He couldn't say anything during the judging process, but he had a really good interview with Weekly Scroll. I'll put the link in there or up above with Ryan, and he just talked about the process, and he also now has unpacked it. He's got a 4-part series on the Ennies, parts 1, 2, and 3, and he's going to drop the 4th one, so it might be available by the time you're watching this. But at first, I was kind of before I saw that interview, I was kind of mad at Clayton, because I know he really talks about layout and design, and I was like, how on earth could the last 2 winners? And I guess I'm not trying to punch. I don't want to ever punch down, but I'm pretty low in the grand schemes of tabletop role-playing games. So I guess I'd punch up to everybody. But 2 years ago, Shadow Dark won, and then Bastionland, Mythic Bastionland won this year. And they're serviceable. There's nothing really wrong with the layouts. But from a graphic design layout perspective, they're just serviceable. And for those 2 to win the Ennie for best layout was almost a tragedy, because there is such a good layout out there in the role-playing game world that it was very for me in particular, I don't know why that really rubbed me wrong this year to see it. but you can see, and Clayton lays it out in the interview, and Clayton lays it out in his awards debrief, that the system is flawed. And so no shade. Like, I mean, if somebody's going to give you an Ennie, take the Ennie. Like, I get it. It's good on, it looks awesome when you win it. And you can put it on your book cover, and like, it's good for advertising, and it's good for the industry. And ultimately, I just kind of go, I wish we could kind of like figure out a system to do it better. And I think Clayton's got some ideas. So I'm interested to see part 4, which is still behind a paywall. So I haven't seen that kind of yet. But anyways, it just kind of made me realize that, like, for me, like, that's a big part of what I love about tabletop role-playing games, is that creativity that you get from good art, layout, and graphic design all mixed together. And I should point out, for Mythic Bastionland and Shadowdark, amazing art in those books. Like, I can see where the confusion happens, because you look at the art and you go, oh, that's amazing art. But then you, for many folks that aren't as ingrained in graphic design or layout as me, the other stuff, like, you know, kerning, leading of the text and the font and layout and columns and tightness between the columns and all that kind of stuff, like, really, it's like looking at a crooked picture. So I see it, but the judges, they're not kind of in that zone. They're there they play games. And so no shade on the judges. It's like asking somebody to be like an expert in a certain field that maybe they're not, and judging based upon that. So all that said, I would love to see something more of like the Academy Awards, where there's like folks in the industry that that are able to vote on particular things. But I understand why the Ennies do voting publicly, because it like draws eyeballs in. And then you get the outliers where, like, you know, you get somebody like Quinn's Quest that does a video with his humor and lightness, and everybody's like, oh, like, whatever he says, I'm going to go buy. But that skews like the view of it. It's like, you know, like a big blockbuster winning the Academy Awards, like, whereas maybe something that's more artistic should have won. So sometimes this has happened, and I think there's going to be, you know, hopefully someday that there is an award for this kind of stuff. And all this to say is that, like, you know, I don't blame anybody for like getting an award or submitting or anything like that. But the other problem is that the categories, like, when you submit something, you actually really, you might be able to put it in some broad categories, but sometimes you get like pigeonholed in something else. Like, even though my little game here, Fangasahola, it's like kind of minimalistic, but it's like OSR vibes and stuff like that. I was terrified it was going to get put into the kids category or children family category, because I don't I don't really see it there. Obviously, kids and families can play it. The rules are that simple, but I was like, I hope that doesn't get me pigeonholed. So it's complicated. I look forward to hearing Clayton's on how to fix it. Like I said, I'll put the links to his thing, but all that conversation about the Ennies and the winners leads me to the idea of copycatting, and this is the decline of the OSR, or potential decline of the OSR. This is a video that was done by Man Alone. He does a lot of solo stuff. And I thought it was bold of him to say it. I think I had been thinking it for quite a while. And I'll say that I love Mork Borg. And it was foundational as far as like what a fun, cool layout design can be. And Man Alone goes into the review of it, and I'll put links and you can see it, that he talked about it like this was peak Mork Borg, and a Cyborg also by Johan Nohr, peak. Like, this is like some awesome stuff. But what happens is, because it had a third-party open license, and because it's very forgiving in its design and layout, like if you screw something up and it's like not right or pixelated that kind of fits with the aesthetic. And so what has happened is you have like the original Johan Nohr version of Mork Borg, and then you've the early adopters that saw it and went, I want to be part of the Mork Borg community. And sorry, I missed a message here. Paul put on there, one day people will realize that the Ennies are entirely meaningless. It was interesting to see financial services bots congratulating the Triangle Agency for their win on Twitter. And it's funny. I didn't know that. That's interesting. But Matt Alone made the comment that maybe it's time to like quit riding the Mork Borg trail. And I don't know if you've seen, there's just been a ton of other Mork Borg games that have come out and kind of late already, I would say, and people are still doing it. Now, I told you earlier, like my North Star is indie TTRPG designers. And I guess the fear of it's twofold. Like the good is there's a market for you, right? And like it's hard to make money in tabletop role-playing games, and I do not blame anybody for wanting to make money in tabletop role-playing games, and also get people, even more important than that, having people play their games. Like there's never going to be a ton of money to be made in role-playing games, but just people, you want people to play it. You want your art, and I think it is art. Tabletop role-playing games, it's art. You want people to play, and so instead of doing some weird obscure thing, the easy button is to do, a nice third-party license. Mork Borg comes to mind. Mothership is another one. You see like lots of people that like have jumped into those spaces to design, and like I said, like this is a fairly forgiving, like if you screw up with the layout or the design or an image and it's sketchy, whatever, it could still work. It's kind of not as noticeable. But when you, and there's a train of thought here, so just bear with me. The concept of this is that people have been copying it for so long that it's like a copy of a copy of a copy, and it just kind of has run its course with Matt Alone, his comment. And I kind of agree with that, but I don't want to like make people like not make games, because I'd rather you make a game than not as an indie designer. But I think it's a good video. You should watch it. And then that brings me back to the Ennie winners. Of what I would hate to see is people going, that's an Ennie winner for layout, and them going, okay, I'm going to copy that, when maybe they don't have the knowledge that like a graphic designer or layout person would have. That's not something that should be copied, but it's so popular. So like Shadow Dark made whatever, like $1 million for their original Kickstarter, and then 2.5 million for their West Marches version. I don't begrudge that. Kelsey seems like a lovely person. I've had also Mythic Bastionland has done well, and I've had Chris McDowell on my show, so hopefully Chris isn't mad at me about saying this, that when people win those things, the first thing the others do is like try to copy that. And both of those designs they're fine, serviceable, but they're not like really, really good, and not probably, I think most people would agree, not deserved of like a gold Ennie. So I worry that that's going to be the new standard, and it's not a standard to copy. Which now I think we're kind of finally where I'm trying to get to is on my channel, or a channel, is I have been kicking around since the Ennie Awards the idea of starting a new channel, subsequent channel to Dieku Games, called Folio Fiend, obviously playing off the Fiend Folio. And there's a place called the Folio Society, and I just kind of went, oh, maybe I'll do that name, and it just kind of fits with everything. And so what I really want to do is, I don't want to punch down. I'm not going to like go pick apart books or anything like that. That's not my goal. My goal is to talk about like good design. So I want to go through like what I find good design to be, and help indie TTRPG designers like see good design, and like how like you can learn from it. So I've developed what I call, and so go follow Folio Fiend. It might be hard to find because it's a fairly new channel, but at Folio Fiend on YouTube, also on TikTok and other socials. So Folio Fiend, if you want to go check that out. So with that said, Into the Odd, also layout by Johan Nohr, made by Chris McDowell. So in my head, I'm like, there's got to be there's three rules to graphic design for TTRPGs. One, hire Johan Nohr. So that's rule one. Rule two is hire a graphic design layout person, which I know is difficult budget-wise. Like, it's, people don't have art budgets, and graphic design layout is one of the areas that they could probably sneak their way into. But number three is learn to do graphic design. So part of the Folio Fiend channel will be like how to do graphic design, how to like learn from really good design out there and bring that into your games. So like I said, my whole thing is indie TTRPG designers and how you can like put your voice into the artwork and of your games. So those three rules, and first one is almost impossible. I know Johan Nohr is busy. Second one is budget constraints. That's always tough, and you'd probably rather put that to art. So let's learn how to do graphic design. So that was a big long rant of how we got to the Ennies, to my new channel, which is Folio Fiend. Feel free to subscribe and check it out. Another comment here by Paul. Labels like compatible with Mork, Borg, Shadow Dark, and 5e make me put the book down more often than not. There's a lot of cheap slop in that market looking to cash in. And yeah, I mean, that's the thing, right? Is and even Professor Dungeon Master, I know he's seen my channel before, and I know he's made a comment on Kobayashi. Was a guest of mine. Kobayashi is an awesome indie game designer, and he was, and I know Dungeon Master actually made a comment on that video saying something about, and Kobayashi was like, the slop of McDonald's. Like, that, it's food, it's edible, but it doesn't, it's just food. And I think the whole point of this is that I want people to, treat tabletop role-playing games like art. With that said, though, it's tough. You want to make money, and I can see the temptation. Professor Dungeon Master is choosing to do Shadow Dark, and I don't blame him. Like, everybody should do what they need to do. Like, I am not here to tell people what to do. I'm just here to support indie TTRPG and make that like the truest art form that I think it can be. And so for me, that's my North Star. But if you feel the need to do like a Shadow Dark thing or a Mork Borg thing, nobody will criticize you, because like sometimes you just got to do what you got to do, and sometimes it's a good starting point when you're starting your career and like trying to figure out where you fit. It's good to like do those third-party supplements and see what they've done as a designer and kind of mimic that and learn from it. And we got a couple more comments about the Folio Fiend. Well, yeah, I hope it's helpful, and I'll keep working at it after my Kickstarter. That's like number one on my list of things to do, is to review some of these like awesome books. And yeah, so anyways, I hope you come around for the journey. Like, my main channel here is still Dieku Games, but the Folio Fiend will be featured prominently, and now that YouTube has collaboration, it's a little bit easier to kind of have like shared collaboration. So there might be a little bit of crossover where like Dieku Games has some Folio Fiend stuff, but Folio Fiend will be more specific to that. And with that said, I also have like a Bug Buster YouTube channel, mostly for shorts, and I also have a Fun with Fang thing mostly for shorts as well. But anyways, I hope that was a long-winded way to just say I'm here to make a new channel, which brings me to the final piece of we got. Yeah, you want a good balance, otherwise you end up with a beautiful book like Nobilis, which worked works more as a humanities text or a coffee table book than a game. And yeah, and one of the reasons like I love tabletop role-playing games and RPGs in general is it's like part textbook, part fiction, part art. Like it's just that perfect combination of and that's why people buy them and never get them to the table. Like, I mean, Into the Odd by Chris McDowell is a like this by Johan Norris, like a masterpiece. Like in layout, it's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And when I could flip through this. I'll never, if I never get it to the table, that's fine. It's just a beautiful book. So like there's that nice balance, as you mentioned. There, and yeah, I hope there's another comment there about first-time crowdfunder publisher. First Adventure is going to be crowdfunding in a few days, so good luck to you in that. And yeah, let's get out there and support indie game designers. That's always been, and that brings me now to the kind of the final part of this long-winded update. Hopefully it hasn't been boring though, but it's the future of the Dieku Games podcast and the Dieku Games channel in general. So obviously I've got my Bug Busters game that I'm going to be kickstarting and making, and the Fun with Fang, supporting that. So like it's busy, and I got the Folio Fiend. One of the things that has kind of happened. So let me just bring up another channel here, if you'd bear with me. I used to have, or I still do have, there's a Game Pitch Gary. I thought it would be kind of fun to do like a kind of like car salesman like video. Some of you may have seen it where I did Game Pitch Gary, come on down and check out. And I did a video. It's just kind of meant to be fun. And I had a forum on my website for people that wanted to do like a game pitch. And it didn't kind of work out as I had intended. I thought the game pitch part of it would be that people would bring their like a PowerPoint presentation, and then they would walk through it, and I would interview them, and like we could go through it. Not only I thought that would really help hone people's pitch, like their Kickstarter and their pitch down. And then B, I thought it would be a nice visual so that people could kind of see it. It didn't kind of work out that way, as far as like, I think it was like too taxing on the designers. They're just desperate to get a Kickstarter like done. And then here I am going, well, make a like a PowerPoint deck. That's not a problem, right? So I think it was just like an extra burden on them that they didn't need. And so sometimes like I ended up doing it, or it was like they just didn't have time. Anyways, it just didn't kind of work out as I thought. The other aspect to it is like, truly, I really wanted to support indie game design, but I guess my channel also has a bit of a vibe. So I was getting people that would come across my contact or like the forum, and I'd feel bad because people would like reach out, and then they would like not really fit the vibe of my channel, which is kind of OSRE and indie kind of games. And in some respects, I'd go like, I want to support them and I would have them on, but I don't know if like it was actually really beneficial to them, because my audience is like a little bit more in the OSR kind of vein. And then second to that is, and I heard Ryan talk about this on the weekly podcast, or the Weekly Scroll podcast, is, people would contact you, and, my name's Gary Snow. It's like always on like the videos that I make and all that kind of stuff. And then people would come in, like, I mean, I'm the only host. I'm the only person kind of running this kind of thing. And people would come in and say, hi, Dieku Games. And you could just tell, like, they didn't really know me. They like, obviously you're trying to get your game out there. But Ryan kind of mentioned that too in his thing, where like, you could see that they really didn't care about your channel. They're not interested in like making a community or being part of the community. So it kind of got to a point where I was like, I stopped kind of responding to some of the game pitch forums that were being filled out. this one I shouldn't have said that and then diverted to this, but Dug and Throat Divided is one that I really apologize to all those folks that filled out the form and put it in, and this is one of them. And I wish I could have got Nathaniel into an interview in time for his Kickstarter. I'm glad I could put it up on the screen here and just say it looks really cool. You should go check it out. But there's between getting ready for Bug Busters and just like being a little bit busy at work and all that kind of stuff, there's on the forums and like a lot of different factors, I ended up kind of going, I don't know what the future is of the Dieku podcast, like with Folio Fiend, the Folio Fiend and that kind of thing. But I really think there's a space that indie designers need. And that was always the goal of my Dieku podcast, was to provide a space for like indie game designers to come on and talk about their creations. And for me, like I actually love talking about it. So it's not like really a burden on me. There's like the technical and the editing and all that stuff, but I really usually love it. But I also don't want it to be transactional where like they really have no interest in my channel other than its ability to get them maybe some eyeballs on their project. I really want people to be part of the community of designers, and I have a Discord. I welcome designers to kind of join it. I'll put links in that as well. If you want to pop in there, it's pretty sleepy, but I really hope it actually kind of picks up between Bug Busters and Fun with Fang and with Folio Fiend. I want it to be like a nice creative space that people can share their work and get good feedback. And there's like some really awesome folks in that community already. So with that said, I really want to continue on with the Dieku podcast, but I'll probably take that form off my website. And if, people can just reach out to me individually, and as time permits, I'll get it on. And with that said, I've always tried to balance the interviews with indie game designers with veteran game designers to kind of get their wisdom to pass along to the indie game designer. So it's like always been a little bit of a bipolar way of doing it. So I might have like Steve Jackson games, like Steve Jackson himself giving his history. And then on the other hand, we'll have somebody that's coming out with their very first game. And I want that type of thing. So it's gonna be a little bit of a trial or balance of how I move that forward. So we got a couple comments here. Will I be teaching, giving advice on how to use software like Affinity? Yeah, I suppose that'll be part of the Folio Fiend aspect, is like to look at the different options. I'm sure I'll do a show on that where I'll talk about the different options out there. I'm lucky, I have Adobe Creative Suite for my work. And so I've always said, like, I have it for work. And so it's just a no-brainer to use it like in my kind of personal game stuff. If I didn't have that, I'd probably look at Affinity and like some of those pay once non-subscription models. And so I've only dabbled in Affinity, so I'm no expert. I'm more expert in InDesign and Photoshop, Illustrator, and that kind of thing. Discord, it's tricky because everyone is on Discord and I don't know who to join. So, well, you're welcome. I'll put the link to the Discord in the show notes. So if you're watching this live and then circle back, I'll have it in there, or some of my old videos have it. Like I said, good community, good people. A little bit sleepy right now, but hopefully it kind of picks up. Yeah, there's like, if other people have ideas on Discords that they can join, feel free to pop them in the comments. Looking forward to Bug Busters. So I think, yeah, I hope there's a lot of Ghostbusters fans around, and it's kind of it's unique. It kind of fits. It scratches an itch for me. It's that kind of grungy '90s thing, and I don't know, just like busting bugs is hopefully a fun thing to do, and especially in like those kind of weird spaces. We've got some. One more question. Any thoughts on the occasional video to spotlight a handful of indie books that have caught your eye? Yeah, that's been another kind of thing. I thought about, so in a perfect world, I wanted to do like a Folio Friday where I do like a more in-depth view, and like this, where I like talk about margins and I talk about like the good design choices so people learn. But I also had thought about at the beginning of that show kind of like peppering through some other stuff that I've seen and kind of going, hey, this has caught my eye, this is like looking really cool. So that's hopefully a thing that might happen, is like a weekly Friday Folio Fiend Friday live stream or something like that, where people can ask questions and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, like I said, my North Star is indie games, and if I can support indie game designers in any way, that's what I want to do. And because I am one too, and I think the community, the rising tide of the whole community working together and making it all better and supporting each other is like a key aspect of that. I always say, get out there and support those like little tiny Kickstarters, because like the people that have $1 million Kickstarters don't need anybody to pump their tires. Like it's the people that are just starting out, or like, you know, getting their feet underneath them as far as game design and like learning the ropes. So I think it's important to help those folks as best we can as a community, and I am here for it. So another question was, Ghostbusters the first RPG to use item cards? You know what? I don't know. I should look. I think I have the Rocky and Bullwinkle game, which also like at that time used cards, and I'm pretty sure a few other games use cards. But yeah, I really like that idea of the way they use cards and the ghost die. And Sandy Peterson, I always give full credit, even in Fangsahola, because he basically, the history of it is Sandy Peterson of Cthulhu fame also was hired to do Ghostbusters. And so Sandy came up with the idea of the dice pool, which Fangsahola does like a streamlined version of the dice pool system. And so Sandy started that with Ghostbusters, and then West End Games, who was the publisher, used that later on with Greg Kostikian to do for Star Wars D6. And I've got interviews with both Sandy and Greg on my channel. I'll maybe put links below or above afterwards, after the live stream, so you can see, because we talk about a lot of this stuff. But Ghostbusters was the first dice pool system, which now is, you know, the Free League Year Zero engine kind of uses the dice pool system, Blades in the Dark, and that kind of thing. So there's like, you know, even if, you know, obviously, like I said, Fangsahola was a derivative of the original Ghostbuster system, and hopefully streamlined. Like it's hard to like say it's streamlined, because like it was a really good system. I'm not knocking it at all. I just didn't like counting the pips. And then, as happens in the design process, you end up like making changes and making changes and making changes, and it doesn't quite even reflect the original thing. And that's, you know, going back to that following a design trend. That's the way design has always worked, though, is people see like something that like looks really cool, and then they copy it. But during that design process, new things arise, and that's just the nature of design. And I always say, like art is subjective, as far as like people can like art and not like art, and sometimes it's so subjective, it's kind of tough to say. So art in your books is very subjective, but graphic design is, like I always say, a bastardized form of art. It's not really art, but it's like technical. So it's a little bit easier to have rules with graphic design and layout, whereas art is very subjective. So like what one person thinks is really good art and another person thinks is bad art, who knows? But layout, there's kind of rules to it. And even then, once you know the rules, you can break the rules, and there's like a whole system to kind of go down. Or little rabbit hole that we could go down on that. So what I'll say is thanks for being on this journey. I'm coming to the end here. So I know it's been like a long one. I appreciate everybody kind of sticking with it and asking questions. And I don't know. I love indie tabletop role-playing games, and that's always going to be where I want to kind of sit. Let's say I would never turn down like a $1 million lightning in a bottle Kickstarter like Kelsey got with Shadow Dark. But for me, my heart will always be in these weird, oddball games and making sure that people have a platform to kind of share them on. And so I hope I can provide that and be part of this wonderful community of tabletop role-playing games, because it's an art form and it's a great community. And I think I'm happy to be part of it till the day I die. So with that said, I guess I'll sign off and just remind people that the links to the Kickstarter are in the description in the notes, so you can sign up to be notified when it launches. I think it will be next Tuesday, but don't hold me to that. It might be Wednesday morning. So Tuesday morning or Wednesday morning, one of those two things. And share it if you can. I'd appreciate it. And I hope you enjoyed the live stream, and keep playing games and having fun, because that's what we're here for. So anyways, signing off, and I will see you probably soon. I'll also note I'm going to be recording an interview with Shannon Appelkline, who has done the Designers and Dragons Origins. So I'm going to do an interview with him tomorrow. So if you have any questions for Shannon about his development of that, feel free to put them in the comments, and I'll try to ask them for the recording of it tomorrow. And then I'll be releasing it probably like next Monday or prior to the Kickstarter launch. And I'll be popping on with other live streams if you have questions and all that kind of stuff. And so anyways, Kinfasa already signed up. All the best. Thank you very much for those encouraging words. So anyways, everybody, have a good rest of your day, and I will see you soon, I guess. So, okay, take care.